Peace, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is right now 8:08. I'm about to say 7 something. It's 8:08. I've been up since 4 a.m. I woke up this morning and meditated and did some yoga and all that good stuff. Uh, and I was listening to the news and, just keeping up with what's going on in the world, the actual, like, real world global news, and then also entertainment news. Um, and this morning I was just getting my chuckles in, okay, because I was reading an article about Terry Crews. So if you don't know who Terry Crews is, he's an actor. He was in White Chicks. He was in Friday After Next. He played Damon and all that good stuff. So Terry Crews been around for a little minute, right? And he is also one of, if not the first male to speak out in as far as the whole Me Too movement. Good morning, peace, sis. He was the first one to speak out with the whole Me Too movement and say that he too was sexually assaulted by a white male director. And I don't think he ever specifically said who it was. If he did, please put it in the comments. But I think he refrained from actually saying the name of the person of who it actually was. But yeah, so he spoke out and said that he was sexually assaulted by a white male director, and most of Black Hollywood came, especially Black women in Hollywood, had his back and basically was like, that's crazy. That shouldn't have happened. We support Terry Crews. Like men get me too. And one of the people who spoke up in his defense and had his back was Gabrielle Union. Well, recently, Gabrielle Union said that she experienced racism on America's Got Talent and dealing with the NBC network, which this is not the first time that NBC has been accused of racism. But Gabrielle Union said that she has experienced some racism. And Terry Crews was asked about his experience because he too has worked with NBC. Good morning, Queen. I was looking for you yesterday, G Lisa. I was looking for you. We was having a good conversation on live. I didn't post it, but we was talking about like being vegetarian, vegan, and all that good stuff. And I was just like, wanting you in the community. We missed you, girl. Missed you. Um, but yeah, so they asked Terry Crews, has he experienced any negativity or any racism or anything with NBC or America's Got Talent or anything? And he was like, no. Like, he was adamant that he doesn't know what Gabrielle Union is talking about. That hasn't been his experience. Like, he's always had the best experience. Da 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 da. And granted, he was speaking from his experience. However, I'm trying to move my hair because I don't want my hair and stuff to keep hitting the microphone. But he was speaking from his experience. However, at this time, this is a time to stand in solidarity. And the thing that I was thinking about is like being Black in Hollywood, out of the entire entertainment industry, the Black community in the in the entertainment industry is still very small. And even though we may consume, or I know for myself, let me speak for myself, I consume mostly Black art, Black movies, watch Black shows. I support Black. So in my world, Black Hollywood may seem huge, but in actual the Hollywood world, Black Hollywood is very, very tiny. It's a microcosm, right? So the thing about it is the importance of solidarity and unity is so key in Black Hollywood. So for this Black man to say, "Oh no," right? For this Black man to say, "Oh no, I never experienced racism or anything like that," it just kind of it breaks that unity down because, of course, instead of like the white people having to say, "Oh, we don't do that," or "What she's saying is false," all they're gonna do is use him as a token to represent the community of NBC and say like, "Oh, we're not racist. Terry Crews said that we don't do that, and he's Black too. So we have Black people to represent us to say that, oh, we're not racist. We don't do that," and that's the problem. Well, a lot of people immediately jumped on Terry Crews and was like, "Oh, you bugging out? Like, you shouldn't have went against her. As a Black man, you should have supported her." Of course, Black women was like, "We always be holding y'all down and y'all don't never have our back," which I don't grand rising, sis. Much love, Moni. But yeah, we was like, Black women was like, "Look, we always have y'all back. Like, y'all, we love you, and we support you to the end, and y'all never hold us down." Which honestly, my sisters, I don't feel like we are never held down by Black men. I do feel like we are supported by Black men at times, but it's not to the same level that we support them. And I do feel like we are often let down and disappointed by Black men. So The right. So the interesting thing is, and we about to get that to that conversation. So bring it in. So the interesting thing is women, and he tweets out and basically says in a nutshell that I am not obligated to please anyone but my wife. He said, not my mother, not my daughters, no one. I am only obligated to please my wife. So that brought up the conversation of, are you obligated to please your parents, your spouse, or your children? Who comes first? Because a lot of people took that as him saying, like, I don't have to please my daughters, I don't have to please my mother, I only have to please my wife. And it was like, whoa, whoa. A lot of people was like, what about your kid? You don't have to please your daughters. Like, what are you saying? So how do y'all feel about that? Who do you feel comes first? Do you feel obligated to please your spouse or significant other, or your parents, or your children first? How do you feel? For me, I don't have any children, nor am I married. But I've been in relationships very recently. You say his wife got his nose wide open. Oh, he loved his wife to no end. I was watching Black Love doc with him and his wife, and I used to watch their show back in the day. If y'all don't know, they had a reality show, and he loved his wife to no end. And honey, if y'all watch Black Love doc and y'all see what she dealt with, okay, honey. Okay. But he loves his wife, and I think that's beautiful. He loves his wife, and I think you should love your spouse, your husband, your wife, whatever. I think you should love them. But like I said, I'm not married and I don't have children. But she said he's a cheater, still trying to make up for his mess. Checkmate, checkmate. Checkmate. Okay. But I was in a relationship, and the guy that I was dating, he had a very close relationship with his mother. And I loved that he had a close relationship with his mother. I loved that he loved her endlessly. But I also felt like I was in a deep relationship with his mother. Okay, like his mother used to call my phone. If me and him had an issue and he was upset, his mother would call me like, "What did you do to my son?" Okay. So dating a mama's boy, honey, is a real thing that happens. And I dated a mama's boy. And he very much put his mother first. Honestly, in relationships, I don't have right. Honestly, in relationships, I don't have a problem with you putting your mother first, because I do believe that is a woman. That's the woman who birthed you. And at the end of the day, we were not married. I'm a girlfriend. I was a girlfriend, at the time. And I do recognize there's a place. There's a difference between a wife and a girlfriend. Okay, so shout out to the wives out there. I'm on my way. But yes, there's a difference between a wife and a girlfriend. So I do respect a man, having prioritizing his mother over his girlfriend. This is the woman who carried you. This is the woman who birthed you. This is the woman who raised you. So I do understand that. However, when a man marries, he has a new family. Yes, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And I do feel like when a man gets married, his wife should be prioritized over pleasing his mother. And I think as a mother, you should recognize that and take a step back and recognize that his wife has him now. It's almost like, and I find it so interesting that the mother is not required to do this. In relationships or in weddings, a daughter is given away by her father in traditional weddings, right? A daughter is given away. I'm close to my son, but I make a point to stay on my place in a relationship. I don't want to mess with my grandbabies. That's right. Stay, and I love that and I respect that. Yes, take a step back. And the interesting thing is, you know, I feel like in the weddings, the husband, the father gives his daughter away to the husband and basically says, like, you now have the right or the ownership to not raise, but to take care of my daughter. So I'm passing my daughter to you, knowing that and trusting that you will take care of her the way I would. But the interesting thing to me is that mothers aren't required to do that for their sons. Why is a man not given away to his wife? And I think that if that became more traditional, mothers would recognize the need to step back and realize that as his wife, I got this. As his wife, I'm not just going to hold him down, I'm going to hold him up. And I think that that dynamic would change if a mother was required to give her son away at the wedding. I think that would help her recognize that, sis, you got to step back a little bit. Okay, you got to bring it back a little bit. I find that mothers never let go. A lot of mothers of sons just simply never let go, and it's toxic to a lot of relationships. The guy that I was dating at the time, we was together for a while, and that his mother was just simply overbearing. Like I said, if we had any type of issue and he was upset, he would call his mother. His mother would call me. What did you do to my son? Well, my son feels this. My son said that, and she was definitely like always in the middle. I remember her son, he started eating healthier, dated me. I exposed him to like holistic health. So he started being more conscious of what he ate. He cut out pork. He started like moving towards being vegetarian. And she was very upset about that. I remember the first time we went to Whole Foods, and he had bought her some stuff from Whole Foods. As a mother, my nature is to pull my whole village under my wing, but she is out of order. Right. We went to Whole Foods, and he bought her some stuff from Whole Foods, and he was real excited. He was like, my mother is going to love this. She's always going to want to try this. And see, I didn't mind that. I love the fact that we in Whole Foods, and he's thinking of his mom, and he wants to get stuff from his mom, and he also his nieces and stuff like that. I thought that that was beautiful, and I love when a man is caring about his family. That's a good sign for me. So I'm like, let your mother try this, let your mother try that. Like, she's gonna love it. I would cook. I would always tell him, like, yo, make, because his mother lived in the same community that we lived in. We all lived in Brownsville, Brooklyn. So his mother lived in Brownsville too. So I'd be like, make sure you take your mother a plate, da 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 da. I respected his mother as well. Well, the first time we went to Whole Foods and he brought her some stuff back, she calls my phone. Oh, so you got my son shopping at Whole Foods now? I'm like, yeah, we went to Whole Foods. Oh well, listen, my son, he grew up eating bacon, egg, and cheeses. He grew up eating BLTs. He grew up eating pork. For my son to sit at my dinner table and say that he's not eating pork shoulder is a problem. Okay, sis. So, first off, as a mother, you don't want your son to be healthier? Or is it that you don't want your son to view you as being wrong or think you're doing wrong? Like the level of thinking. I'm helping your son eat healthier. I'm helping your son cut pork out of his diet as a black male, where pork has a lot of salt and can raise his blood pressure and have a negative effect on his coronary situation, his heart. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want him to refrain from eating pork because you raised him on pork shoulder and it's disrespectful. I felt like, sis, what you talking? What you mean, sis? And his mother was just very overbearing. And that situation, that relationship, that's just one example of how overbearing she was. To think that she could call my phone because she's mad that her son is eating at Whole Foods now. That's just one example of how overbearing she was. She had become even more overbearing. I'm talking about to the point of knocking on my door. When we broke up, this lady was at my house like every other day because her son was upset that I ended the relationship. And she was at my house every day, y'all. I told y'all we lived in the same community. I would walk outside to go to work in the morning at 7 a.m. And that lady would be waiting outside my house. And not to fight, not on no beef, but just like she wanted to be the mediator and get us back together, calling my phone while I'm at work, giving him ideas to pop up to my job. Like, the mother was just very involved. And I always knew that his mother, some mothers feel like they are losing control over him. Yes. And she definitely felt like she was losing control over her son. And she did feel like there was a new sheriff in town. Yeah, she knew and that's it with her. She knew I was right for him. And then she felt sorry because she saw how our breakup affected him. But she also was a large part of our breakup. I'm sorry. That's too much for me. And like I said, I love a man who loves his mother. I definitely, if I'm just a girlfriend, I respect you prioritizing your mother, but to what level of priority would that go to? Hold on one second. Yeah. Hey y'all, I'm sorry. It's the buffering, but I was having a conversation. So right now, we have kids taking state tests or practice state tests. So we are in the process of grading state tests and all that stuff. So we're talking about like what's a one, what's a two, and all of that. So I'm at work. I told y'all, real teacher life. Thank you, Julie. So thank y'all everybody for sticking with me. But yeah, so back to the conversation. So like I said, the interesting thing about it is just like, that dynamic of what is considered overbearing as a parent. Like, how much do you prioritize your spouse over your parent or your parent over your spouse? Like, which one comes first? And then where are the children in all of this? Like I said, I don't have any children, nor am I married. I definitely feel like if it's just a girlfriend boyfriend relationship, then the spouse comes first. Once children are involved, I imagine the children coming first. But the interesting thing is, in the article, they were saying, like, without the spouse, you wouldn't have the children. So your spouse being happy should be prioritized over your children because the spouse is the one who helps you co parent, helps you take care of the children, so on and so forth. So I just was very much like, I don't know. I don't know if I had children and my spouse, when I'm in a relationship, I am very dedicated to that person. I'm very committed to that person when I'm in a relationship. So for me, I would just imagine my spouse coming first. Now I don't have to worry about the parent situation because I don't have a close relationship with my parents at all. My child is grown, and me and my husband have been together for 40 years. So who do you put first? Do you put your husband first? That changes when you have children. So the children come first. All right. So is it Moni or Moni? I think I'm gonna say Moni because I'm thinking about Moni Love from back in the day. Y'all remember a hip hop rapper Moni Love? Um, Children come first. Okay. So Moni said that she's been with her man for 40 years. Her children are grown. So Moni, who comes first? And even though your children are grown right now, you may say your husband. Well, when your children were babies, would you say your husband or your children came first? Which one came first? Your husband is first now, but back then, did your children come first? And I wonder who your husband puts first. Somebody, they gave the scenario. I was listening to the Breakfast Club, and they gave the scenario of like if they were hanging on by a cliff, who would come first? Married 20 years, children first. I know that's right. They said if you were if your wife, your children, and your mother was hanging off of a cliff, who would you grab first? And I think that's a good way to put it. Moni Love Buffalo. Yes, you know Moni Love. But yeah, like I said, I just would imagine the children coming first. But for me, I know how I am in relationships, and when I'm in a relationship, um, definitely that person is prioritized. So I don't know though. But the way people talk about loving their children, we both put the kids first back then to the point we had to relearn each other. Ooh. She said they both put the children first, which I had to relearn each other when they went back to college because he was no longer there. So the dynamic of the relationship has changed. Girl, you could do a YouTube video about that with your husband, honey. That's a podcast, girl. Relearning your spouse once the children have left the nest. That's a podcast. I would listen to it. I would listen to it. I listen to a lot of podcasts of like couples who are relationships. I listen to the Love Hour with Kev on Stage, Miss Kev on Stage. I listen to Ask the Martins with the Martins. They're a married couple, and I truly believe that listening to podcasts with married couples helps prepare people like myself who are not married but will be married soon. I definitely feel like it helps prepare you for the relationship because it helps teaches you the dynamic of the relationship. Hey, girl, I'm at work, y'all, so my students is knocking, other teachers is knocking, people speaking. Sorry for the disruptions. But yeah, I just feel like it teaches you that. And they talked about that. The Martins was talking about like the dynamic of their relationship with children. But when I first read Terry Cruz's tweet, I was like, "Oh, he's bugging." But I felt like he was bugging because he used the word "please." When you are pleasing someone, your goal is to make them happy. When Sarah Lena's videos about relationship, oh, who's that? Sarah Lena. Who is that? Put me on, sis, Sarah Lena. Matter of fact, let me write that down. But yeah, I feel like when he used the word please is where he messed up. Good morning, Cece. You like the love hour? Hey, Cece. Me and Sierra Ross went to college together, y'all. That is my sis. She's in the sister circle. I love her. Subscribe to her. That's my sister. But yeah, when he used the word please, to please essentially means to, make someone happy. So why is it that your only job is to make your wife happy? Love you too, sis. Why is your only job to make your wife or your spouse happy? I feel like it should be your job to make your spouse, your parents, and your children happy. Now, when it comes to who comes first, I don't know. I don't know because they say happy wife, happy life. If your marriage is not good, then the children are affected. So I would imagine the first priority would be to please or make happy your spouse. Because if your spouse is not happy, then oh, peace, sis. Enjoy your day. Thank you for coming and checking in. Love you. Thank you for your contributions. 20 years. And she said children come first, honey. Shout out to Jelisa Woke. But yeah, I just definitely feel like, I don't know. I would imagine the spouse comes first. I would imagine the spouse is like, Sarah Lynn, I'm writing it down. I would imagine the spouse comes first, and you have to please your spouse because if once again, if the marriage is not right, then the children are definitely affected. But let me know how y'all feel. I'm actually about to check out too because I got to get to grade any state test, y'all, and I need to focus a little bit. Also, I had some of the Trader Joe's coconut coffee this morning, and I am on 1,000, y'all. I actually had to like drink this whole bottle of water, like most of this bottle of water, okay, to kind of mellow it out because I was like, and I only had like this much in the cup, and I was already, I was getting to work like, hey everybody, hi, how are you? Do you want a hug? You get a hug, you get a hug, good morning. Like I was on 1,000. Trader Joe's coconut cold brew is a real thing, and you only need a little bit and it has you like, whoa. I had did yoga, drank some of the cold brew, and went back and did more yoga. I was on 1,000. Great. Oh, thank you, sis. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. I appreciate your information, Moni Love. I'm gonna start calling you Moni Love just because, okay? But yeah, like try to Trader Joe's coconut cold brew. It's a real thing. It's like $4.99, I think, for the bottle, and it makes 12 cups. Sarah Lynn is a wonderful young conscious sister who frequently discusses topics of femininity as well as being involved with alpha masculine men. I'm gonna have to listen to that. Being involved with an alpha masculine man, I like that. That sounds nice. Okay, alpha masculine man. you know, how alpha masculine we talking about though? Like, is it oppressive alpha or is it like I got this, I could take the lead alpha? Like what kind of CC? You know what we like CC. Okay, what kind of alpha we talking? I definitely like a strong man, but I don't like a overbearing. I feel like I can't do nothing oppressive alpha. I like an alpha man who can make decisions and has ideas and has a plan and can implement that plan. Yes, there's a big difference. But I don't like an alpha male who uses his ideas to oppress me, meaning that I cannot speak up and I cannot make space to have a voice. I like having a voice, but I also, in relationships, I am very much the step back, you take the lead person. I will step up if I extremely have to, but I'm a boss in a lot of areas of my life. At work, I have my own business. When I go home, I don't want to have to run nothing. Okay, I don't want to have to be telling nobody what to do, where to go, all of that. I like for my man to be able to take the lead and do all of that. So alpha masculine man, I'm gonna have to listen to Sarah Lena and see what that be like, what she talking about. You know what I'm saying? And how she handles that dynamic because some men can be too alpha. We like an alpha man, but we like an alpha man that knows the value of his queen, okay? And can handle being with an alpha queen. She's very positive. When she says alpha, she's referred to being very take charge, supportive, and protective type of man. Yeah, now that's the type of alpha. That's what I'm talking about. Let me stop for something. My kids start looking through the window. All right, y'all, I gotta go for real though. Peace. I'm gonna listen to Sarah Lynn. Y'all listen to Sarah Lynn. Now, I probably will post this. I don't know. If I post it, I post it. I might end up taking it down. I don't know. We'll see. Well, peace, y'all. Talk to y'all later. I probably will go live again later on, especially if something good and juicy come up, a good topic. Love y'all. Thank you for checking in. Have a good day. Enjoy your Thursday. We are one step away from Friday. Enjoy this Thursday and manifest wellness and peace. Peace and love. Thank you for the good information. Bonafide 19. Is it Bonafide? Yeah, Bonafide 1970. Peace and love. Moni love. Love you. CC, thank you for checking in. G Lisa Woke, everybody for leaving your comments. I appreciate y'all. Peace.